Okay, as we're getting back together, one of the reasons that I wanted to go ahead and put up the dates for the next meetings for these working groups is there's a strong possibility that you are now so excited about this project and are so engaged in it that you might want to be part of more than one working group. So that was chuckles and laughter. There's two ways that you can do that. One is, remember the people from that other work group that you want to be a part of, and maybe either try to see them before you leave, or at least take their name down. You can certainly contact me or any of the project team members to get their contact information. You can see when those next groups are going to have their first meeting. The second thing is, remember that little index card that was at your place? If you left any space, because I know you filled it out front and back with comments and things that we have done wrong today, things that we need to do better, great things that we did today, great things that you learned, you can also take that card, put your name and contact information on it and say, I also want to be part of the X working group. And as you're leaving, you can leave those cards there at the table. There's a little red basket there that you can leave those cards in. I never officially introduced myself. My name is Mark Kirstner, and I do work at PART, and I'm the project team manager for this project. It's a very daunting task. Every day, I think more and more about how daunting it is. But then when I think about the people that I am working with, and I'm going to put them into silos at a moment, the people that our MPOs and our COGS and our Piedmont Triad Partnership or Center for Global Logistics and a whole host of others, I am able to calm myself. And I am just completely overwhelmed today with the number of people that turned out. I had said and told our project team that if we can't get at least 10 people, wait a minute, from every county that's represented. So that's 120 people. And lo and behold, we had a little bit over 120 people sign up and register. Now, as Bob mentioned earlier, we're still missing a few counties. But as I hope you discussed in your working group, as I stressed with the one that I was talking to, this is just the beginning. This is not the end of a 3-year project. In fact, in some ways, we could say we really haven't started yet because these working groups are really not completely engaged. So if you feel like, God, I just heard about this yesterday and just happened to get here to be able to become involved, don't feel bad. Again, it is simply just the beginning. I hope that you took a couple things away from today, and one of them is that this is truly a very broad scope that we are dealing with. I've been part of the Piedmont Triad for some 20 plus years and have worked on regional efforts before, but I don't know of one that has covered so many different bases that this one is going to attempt to address. So it is a very broad scope. I hope that you walk away today with that understanding that this is a very broad scope, very complex issue. The second thing is the importance of engagement. And we tried to structure today to show you how important we believe the engagement piece is and how much that this is the Piedmont Triad's project. This is not PART's project, it's not a COG project, it is your project. It is our project to complete. And I don't see Brent, so I'm going to do what I did at our very first project team meeting. I'm going to take my PART button off because, again, I may stand here as an employee of PART, but I don't represent PART in this effort. I represent all of y'all in terms of making this project move forward, and that engagement piece is so important. The other thing that I hope that you walk away with and understand is something that was mentioned a couple of times by others as well, and that is partnerships. This kind of gets back into the engagement piece that we have to engage as many people as possible to sustain this effort for 3 years. to come up with some very usable and successful outcomes that can help move the triad forward. So those are several things that I hope that you walk away with. I want to reemphasize what the next steps are. Our work groups are going to start meeting in May or June, and it looks like everyone sort of met that goal and has set up or is working towards a meeting in May or June. Our local public engagement is going to begin this summer, and our public engagement team has already identified the fact that we're probably going to have to go out and meet in each of the 12 counties some 60 to 80 times during the life of this 3-year project. Again, it is a true commitment to get out to each individual community to let that piece of this plan be part of them as well as to get their feedback and to be able to have some really honest, heartfelt, sincere conversations about how we make the Piedmont Triad more livable. And it's going to mean something different to a Mount Airy, a Ramseur, and a Greensboro, but it's also going to mean something differently to each of us as individuals. And one of our engagement pieces we would hope to be to have some public forums, and maybe one public forum that we really need to have is an honest conversation that brings all sides of it into play. Those that believe in sustainability, those that don't, and just have a very honest, heartfelt conversation about it. The only way we can do that is to be friends and get to know each other and to do it in a manner that is truly productive. The other milestones as part of this project that Dick mentioned earlier, we're going to validate and expand our opportunities and challenges during the summer of 11. We'll hope to have a regional vision and some goals established by the fall of 11. We were working on some future scenarios for the Piedmont Triad, and I know that may come across as being completely land use based, but it is not, and more will be coming about that. During the spring of 12, the winter of 13, the individual working groups putting together pieces of the individual plan elements that relate back to the scenarios in the vision, and then working on an implementation strategy. The U.S. Deputy Secretary for HUD indicated that, as well as you heard today, that there is money programmed for implementation. And he said, why have communities do a plan if we can't then back it up with some money to be able to implement something? So that implementation plan, as well as the sort of a adoption process, whether it's by consensus or actual vote by local governments, we don't know yet. That's too early to tell. But that will take place in the winter of 2014. So you can see, again, it's a 3-year project. You're in on the ground floor. We look forward to your participation. We hope to have 2 other regional type events such as this. I know that it is a challenge for people from Caswell or Montgomery County to get to Forsyth County or Guilford County. But if we're going to plan as a region, if we're going to live as a region, if we're going to act as a region, at some points we have to sit down and meet as a region. So while we'll have a lot of local engagement in the individual communities, we do plan on having 2 other regional events. And for those of you that are in Surrey or Forsyth, you may pull out your map. We may be meeting down in Montgomery County for that sort of regional meeting. The second thing, or the final thing that I want to say is that the one pledge that I can give you is that we will try our very best on communication with this project. Again, you can imagine the difficulties over a 12-county region. I have this goal that at the end of the 3 years that if you were to ask all 1.6 million people in the region if they'd heard of the project, they would at least say yes. They don't have to know anything beyond that, but they would at least heard it. We've got 3 years to do that. And I think that is a very possible goal for that to actually happen. But we are going to try to cover every base, whether it's electronic or going out face-to-face and meeting with people to communicate. For those of us that are digitally connected, will be a project web page, and we will very much pump information out that way, so keep in tune for that. My role throughout the rest of this project is exactly as you saw it right here. depending upon your level of engagement, you may not see me again. Why?
Because everybody's working.
Because everybody's working. This is not my plan. I will not be at every work group meeting. I would like to attend the first work group meeting, maybe the second of everyone, to help sure that we get off on a smooth start and a uniform start. But you may or may not see me again. Hopefully you may hear from me and see my name. But again, this is your project. It's up to me to make sure that it is successful, but I'm going to do it by sitting over here in the corner and watching, facilitating, keeping things moving. Hopefully you saw this as a fairly smooth running event today. If you did, then I think this whole project can sort of move along smoothly. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Graham Revere, our final speaker, for some closing remarks. And once he is done, it's kind of like the acolyte coming into church and taking the light out. We are done. We're not going to sing a hymn or anything after that, but after Graham says we are done, there is a tour of some places.